We praise the Shakyamuni Buddha, the primordial enlightened. We pray in gratitude for the superb compassion to Grandmaster Nichiren Dai Bosatsu, reincarnation of Jogyo Bosatsu in the Mappo. Grandmaster Nichiren Dai Nichiren Shonin, posterior body in the restructure of the online primal pet of the Lotus Sutra, and to Grandmaster Nissen Shonin, founder of Honmon Butsuryushu, Daiji Dai Hidayon. We offer deep gratitude to the second Koyu Nichimon Shonin, third Koyu Nichizui Shonin, fourth Koyu Nichikyo Shonin, the first master of Myoshi Temple Nippak Shonin, second master Nisso Shonin, and all the masters Om Shato. We pray that all beings within the sky and the forces return to the Myoho primordial state, and that in this age of the 55,100 years of the Buddha returns to the original state. The expansion of primordial Buddhism, Honmon Butsuryushu, will take place incessantly. Nam-myoho Renge. In front of the Gohon Zone with respect and veneration, we pray for the expansion of Honmon Butsuryushu, for world peace, and for the sound health of our mind. May we progress in our faith and in our practice. May we be capable of accomplishing our both such works. Out of the works, may we experience the benefits and become a bake of providers. May this work hold the Gohon Zone de Odaimo, and the secret teachings be united in mind, although separate in body. We pray for the preservation of the environment, for the solidarity of beings, and for the realization of one conversion by faithful propagation by the Nepal around the world. We pray for the great progress in Buddhist education and studies. We pray for the encouragement of the religious heritage. And especially HBS Nepal would like to pray for a safe and successful walk in Japan for Jiban Suba Kathmandu Kyo. We would like to pray for fast and easy health recovery of Kadaka Seiji Winnie Korea, Shantimaya Tamangina Kumari Guru Yaswini Dahal and because Tapa Kathmandu Kyo. We pray that Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, cause essence and the seed of enlightenment, contain the first 8 chapters of the primordial pet of the Lotus Sutra, transmitted by the Jogyo Boss. Homo Hakunjo Genjogyo Shodei Honding Shunora Mumyoho Renge Kyo. In front of the Gohon zone with respect and veneration. We pray for the progress and expansion of the group of faithful establishing Nepal. We pray for health and devotion to the practice of faith and Gohokos, elimination of the negative karma and the prosperity of all participants in relation and we pray for the fastest eradication of the coronavirus to all those who are infirmly affected. We pray for the progress of the mystic relationship with the Buddha and the meeting with the true secret Dharma, the elimination of the negative karma, full health, and the protection of our primordial Buddhism. That everyone realizes to go in accordance with the Buddhist intention. We pray for the recovery of all the sick. and for the fulfillment of all the prayers of all participants in today's study session. Come on, Kyo. I mean, Lord. Now we are holding the evening study session in front of the home zone at HBS Nepal, Kathmandu. We pray for health and devotion to the practice of faith and Holocaust, elimination of the negative karma and the prosperity of all participants in today's studies. May those who are suffering from illness have their sickness cured immediately, and may those who are praying for overcoming sufferings and troubles have the protection and the blessing of the Mohon. And especially from the Mohon's own Jivan Suba, we would like to pray for fast and easy health recovery of Kamala Devi Limbu and the Jivan Suba Kamodo Kyo. I mean, Jivan Suba would like to pray for successful and safety Goko in Japan Kamodo Kyo. I mean, Jivan Suba and the Renu Kalim would like to pray for fast and easy health recovery of Winnie Koheya Kamodo Kyo. I mean, Vinny Pradhan would like to pray for fast and health growth and success in the final exam for Viber and Yusuba Kamodo Kyo. I mean, Winnie Koheya would like to pray for the fulfillment of the confidential wish Kamodo Kyo. I mean, with respect and veneration of our prayers to all the late masters and the monks, faithful in the relative of the home Vachiris, with respect and veneration of our prayers to all souls who have died in disasters, epidemics, and the army and the conflicts around the world, especially to all those deceased in the Nepal earthquake, and all those deceased by the new coronavirus. We offer prayers to all souls inscribed in the posthumous purple book of the Myoshi Temple, HBS Nepal Center, and to deceased ancestors of all participants in today's study session, and all to deceased today, and especially for Obarakira, Myoho Kyoreki Tsuzam. For all the participants and people doing Hoku today, we pray one by one for the elimination of the negative karmas and the great progress in the field. In front of the homes with respect and veneration. We pray for the progress and expansion of the group of faith we establish in Nepal. We pray for health and devotion to the practice of faith in Gohokos, elimination of the negative karma and the prosperity of all participants in today's tradition. We pray for the fast eradication of the coronavirus to all those who are infirm and affected. We pray for the progress of the mystical relationship with the Buddha and the meeting with the true secret Dharma, the elimination of the negative karma, full health, and the protection of all primordial Buddhism. That everyone realizes to go in accordance with the Buddhist teaching. We pray for the recovery of all the sick and for the fulfillment of all the prayers of all participants in today's study session. With respect and veneration, we offer prayers to all the late masters and the most faithful and the relatives of the Omong Buddhists. With respect and veneration, we offer prayers to all souls who have died in disasters, epidemics, and the armed conflicts around the world, especially to all the deceased in the Nepal earthquake and all the deceased by the new coronavirus. We offer prayers to all souls inscribed in the posthumous scriptural book of the Myoshini Temple, HBS in Nepal Center, and to deceased ancestors of all participants in today's study session, and all to deceased today, and especially for Obarakira, Myoho Kyoriki, for all the participants and people doing Gohoko today, we pray one by one for the elimination of the bad karmas and the great progress in the
Thank you everyone for this divination session. Here in Kathmandu Center, thank you that you watch us online in the divination session. Last few days, let's push these last few days to do Gohoko. Normally, the end of the month, people are tired, Let's try to push for this next Gohoko. The children in the hall Gano, as they are inviting many people, let's confirm who will participate in this Oko or not. Very good he's organizing this way. Many people participating and learn together Buddhism. The main essence of Homon to this show. Start with the Oko style. And then 13th study, INS, International Oko 3:45. And people, please, if they come here, try to reach around 3:30, 3 o'clock. It's a good time to come to everyone, participate, and they study the chant with everyone. Just now I was watching the news, was happening the fire in Toca, no? Tuluago, Ayo, so I was asking for a Shivapuri. It's to this side, this side, They already catch Shivapuri. In the news was writing Toca, in between Toca and Shivapuri, So I was asking if sure it's okay. I was asking if Jino place it's okay. It's a little bit forest side, but anyway, it's been many days, don't rain, all the forest is dry. Same what happened in America, in Japan, many places are happening fire, and it's not a joke. We need to take care. We can see this side there's many hotels, up of the hill there's many resorts. We need to pray always for safety of everyone. Basically, is this. じゃあ、デレデレで見ます。ありがとうございます。